Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Player Profiler Fantasy Lab. I'm your host, Aaron St Denis. Follow me everywhere at FF Mad Scientist. Joined today by Dave Heilman. Dave, how's it going?
Doing well, man. Night before the draft. Excited. Christmas is almost here.
Yeah, I figured tonight's a good night to get in our last. Well, for me, this is the only IDP mock draft rookie one that I've actually live streamed. I've done a couple of these, but it's always nice to get one last one in. Just we get the landing spots in the draft capital and we really overvalue it sometimes. So I like to go back to this one and say, well, here's how I valued the guy Wednesday night. How much did that change from Thursday night? And I look and I go, oh, maybe I'll rein this one in a little bit. We get a little crazy come tomorrow night. So this will be our last common sense one. Before we get into that, you want to take a second here? Tell me what you're up to. I know you always got a lot going on. I know you got a 5-month-old, so you might not be as heavy in the content this time of year, but what are you up to, Dave?
Yeah, we're busy. I'm working with Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Just did a bunch of player profiles, mock drafts. You can check that out on sportsgamblingpodcast.com. And I am the social media person for Dynasty Trade Calculator. So if you're talking to DTC, that's me. Make sure you check them out. Great tool right now with all your Dynasty startups and all the trades and stuff.
Oh, so you're the guy I need to talk to after the show. I'll reach out to you after. I've got something to talk to you about. All right, I guess we can get into it. We are going to be doing 3-round IDP rookie mock draft. I know what you're saying. Your IDP leagues, that in an actual IDP rookie draft, you would have a mix of IDP and offense. I don't think. Do you play in any leagues that go straight up IDP with no offense? No, eh?
No.
Well, for the sake of this, we're going to go 3 rounds of just offense. I've had enough of these mock drafts of the offensive players, so let's just do the IDP guys. We are doing it on a spreadsheet since Sleeper doesn't seem to put these rookies in, the IDP rookies, till like July last year, I think it was. So, all right, well, let's get into it. We're going to use, just like I said, standard settings, nothing fancy. I know the way the scoring is set up is really a big change for IDP leagues. One thing weighs tackles, one for turnover. So we're just going to go standard here. So everything's weighted even. I will give you the option here, first pick or second pick. What's your preference?
I'll take the first.
All right. Well, who would you like with your first selection?
Let's give me a future New York Giant, Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter. I think that's the consensus one, probably the best talent in the draft. Top 3 pick. Where do you think he goes? You said Giants, so that makes him what, 3? Giants are 3?
It could be the Giants. I mean, we're hearing some buzz. I think there's right now it's lying season, so everyone's trying to create buzz because last week everybody's trying to trade back, kind of like your dynasty startup. Everyone's trying to trade back, but who wants to trade up? Well, now there's all these rumors about people trading up. Are they real? Are the Bears trying to come up? I heard the Jags might be trying to move up to 2 to get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. Could shake some things up. But I think if things go as we've been talking about for the last month, Giants are going to be staring Abdul Carter in the face. I think they trade back and get Shedeur Sanders later or Jackson Dart later, or take Abdul Carter, try to trade back in and get Sanders or Dart later on in the first. I'm using their high second and maybe even Kayvon Thibodeau.
I really regret giving you the first pick. I think Abdul Carter is the slam dunk first pick here. I do like Travis Hunter. That's who I'm going to go with as I think the pretty obvious second pick. I also think this may be the most terrifying pick in the history of fantasy football, just because there's so many outcomes. I could draft him, I guess, in a normal IDP league. If he converts to a wide receiver only, it doesn't kill me. I mean, I wouldn't get to use him on defense, and that sucks. But it's not as bad as if you're in the offense only and he converts the other way to a cornerback. Then you're completely screwed. I think it really scares me. He has twice the injury risk. You don't know how much he's going to play at either position. I think he's probably the best cornerback and the best wide receiver in this class. I just don't know if I necessarily want the guy playing the Deion Sanders doing both. He's my pick, though. Who do you want here at 3?
Yeah, gets interesting. We really, like I said, we don't know who is going to end up. There's a lot of rumors right now for the linebacker position. But I'm going to go with Jalen Walker from Georgia. He's not built like your stereotypical defensive end edge rusher. He's 6'1", 245, more built like a middle linebacker. But last year when Michael Williams went down, he stepped in and was a fantastic edge rusher for Georgia and SEC, and people just love him. Daniel Jeremiah said there's very few blue chip players. The 3 defensive players that he gave blue chip assignments to were the exact 3 people we just drafted.
So my pick is going to be Mike Green out of Marshall. I love his rushing moves. I love his physicality and his explosiveness. I'm going to preface this with my original pick has changed recently. Here is where I was taking James Pierce, but those off-field issues, I hate them when they come up. It's always, a sign of things to come. And that's moved him down my board a few picks. And that's why I'm going with, like I said, edge rusher Mike Green out of Marshall. Any thoughts on the top 4 here? Think these are consensus? Would you have gone with somebody else here?
Maybe somebody else, but yeah, there's a few guys with some off the field issues that are all really talented. Mike Green is one of them with some of the accusations for him. I don't know if there's been any substantiation, and they'll tell us more on draft night. But yeah, it sounds like James Pierce. And for the combine, he didn't even bring a shirt. He had to run in a hoodie. He's just a lost ball in tall weeds. And then you got Walter Nolan, who could be this year's Jalen Carter. He's just, he's also a little high maintenance.
There seem to be a lot of those. Who do you want here at 5?
Oh, man. Let's go with, give me the linebacker. Give me Jihad Campbell.
Ooh, I love that pick. It kind of, I was debating this. This is always kind of the thing for me. I don't mind necessarily. I say that as I took Travis Hunter at cornerback. So I normally load up on defensive ends, or I guess defensive linemen in general. So to say I took that, I took Travis Hunter at 2 tells you how I feel about Travis Hunter and his upside, because I never take a cornerback that early. I was then wondering how many more linemen do I take before taking Jihad Campbell, but you obviously ended that debate for me. What is it about Campbell you like out of Alabama?
Well, I don't. I mean, there's a couple linebackers. There's one more that I really really like. But when it comes down to it, I think you look at someone like Campbell and his ability to not only be the off the ball linebacker as far as in the run defense, but he's going to stay on the field on third downs, and he's going to have an impact on third downs, whether he's blitzing, through the gap or if he's coming off the edge. Just that flexibility to be able to do the coverage and pass rush and be a 3-down backer is why I like him a lot.
I am going to come in here at 6 and maybe get a little Michigan bias. I'm going to take Mason Graham. I also liked Will Johnson out of Michigan, but I don't really want to go another corner. Typically in the most standard IDP leagues, the D linemen are where you want to load up, specifically the edge rushers. I just like Mason Graham. I think he's going to go pretty high in the draft here. Obviously, I think the other 3 we have on the board probably go ahead of him. Maybe not Mike Green, but that's probably where I am. Like I said, I am pretty standard in my IDP drafts here. I don't stray outside of my formula very often. I love to load up early on D-line, edge rushers, and then fill out the rest later. Typically, you can find a lot of the better secondary or usable secondary players a lot later. So for me, I'm just going to continue the run here. DL, I've got Mason Graham. Who do you want at 7?
I talked about him earlier. I think this guy could go. I think the 49ers would be a really good fit for him. I think the Saints or the Bears would be a really good fit for him. But you gotta find a spot where they got good coaching and are able to reel him in. Walter Nolan, like I said, I think the Niners are a spot when they were dominant, they had DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead, and they need to get back to that. So give me Walter Nolan. I think he's going to go a lot earlier than people think tomorrow.
I agree very much. I also think the same about my next pick, Michael Williams out of Georgia. I just think he's a monster. He's just so physically impressive that's who I want. I think we're going to see, it happens kind of every year, except for last year. We get all hyped up for these offensive players as fantasy football managers. And next thing you know, we underestimate the defensive side of the ball. And all these guys start sliding because this is a pretty decent D-line class. I like some of the corners. I like 2, maybe 3 of the linebackers, but I think we have a really solid, maybe 8 defensive linemen, defensive ends here.
Yeah, I mean they're almost too good because you can get like if you're looking at it going, I need a tackle and a D lineman. They're so deep at D line that you're going to see guys go in the second and third round because the teams are going to take tackle and some of the other positions that are just not as deep because there are guys on here that are probably going to go in the third round that typically would probably have second round grades on them and that are not just, run pluggers. They offer some pass rush as well. It's a very deep defensive line class. Edge is not as good as D-line, but it's still pretty good too.
Yeah, there's a handful of guys where if you told me they snuck into the first round, I wouldn't be surprised. If you told me they went at the beginning of the third, I wouldn't be surprised. So it's, like you said, a lot can happen when they're on the clock. Who do you want at 9?
Give me Derek Harmon from Oregon.
That was my next one.
Yeah, I just think one, he's just one of those like high motor guys, but he's another one that offers some push to the pocket. And I like Kenneth Grant, and that was someone I was thinking about, but I just think Derek Harmon and Walter Nolan offer some more pass rush, and so that means more opportunities on third down and more opportunities for sacks and things like that.
I'm torn here. Why is it every time it's my pick, it's between Michigan guys? And I think Grant and Johnson both go kind of in a similar range. I typically like to go with the lineman, like I said, but I think I'm going to go Will Johnson here. It's just, I'm a really big fan of his playmaking skills. He's, got great ball skills. He's pretty decent size. My comp for him was Trayvon Diggs. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing sometimes. He does have some issues with discipline and tackling, and he's got the injury history, but I think he's going to go very high in the draft. So I guess this is the spot where I will take another cornerback. Oh, I have 2 first-round corners in 6 picks or 5 picks for me. That's not something I think I've ever done before. Tells you I really like at least 2, maybe 3 of these corners here. It's a pretty good IDP class, I think, overall.
Yeah, I mean, we got another one on the board. That was a really has a lot of stats last year for Jahdae Barron. I'm going to go back to the linebacker position. Carson Schwessinger, I think, is going to be a stud.
Yeah.
And so I think he's someone that people need to know about. He's probably going to go in the second round just because he's an off-the-ball linebacker. But you look at someone that can run cover and, be a good run stuffer. I think he's going to be a good player. Yeah,
that was the one for me that I think that was probably the last linebacker I really was even considering. You're right, though. He fell a little bit for me off the ball linebacker. I think he doesn't go day one. If I thought he could sneak into round 1 here, I might have taken a shot on him. I guess that leaves me here with the other Michigan player, just your big monster on the defensive line here. Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. I had his comp as BJ Raji. I always just liked Raji, so maybe that's, between that and the Michigan comp or the Michigan connection here, maybe I'm a little biased. I just think he's fast and big and quick, and I really like him. And he's another one, like I said, I think he's going to get surprisingly high draft capital, so he will close out the first round for me. So let's recap here. We have, let me switch screens. Sorry. First pick, we have Abdul Carter, defensive end out of Penn State. We have Travis Hunter, cornerback out of Colorado. Jalen Walker, edge rusher again, Georgia. Mike Green, edge. Marshall. Jihad Campbell, linebacker out of Bama. Mason Graham, DL out of Michigan. Walter Nolan, Ole Miss. Michael Williams out of Georgia. Derek Harmon, Oregon. Will Johnson, Michigan, Carson Schwessinger, UCLA, and another Michigan homer pick by me. Kenneth Grant closes it out. Before we get on to round 2 here, let me find what I need. We will hear a brief word from the Podfather.
Theo Greminger is gone. We wish him all the best, but he did leave for us a great gift, the 2025 Player Profiler Rookie Guide. That's right. It is here. It is beautiful. It will help you dominate your rookie drafts this year. It features 60-plus player breakdowns, written primarily by Theo Greminger himself, as well as our proprietary NFL draft grades and strategy and tactics for dominating your rookie draft this year. We have a composite rankings with Theo's rankings, Cody, John Lobb, Jagger May, and Jax Falcone. It's right there on Player Profiler. It's $20. You won't find a better draft kit. You certainly won't find a better draft kit value. So go get it on playerprofiler.com.
What's up, Jamie? Welcome in. Oh, I didn't put that comment on screen. Hey, Jamie, how's it going? Get some IDP action here. All right, let's get back into the swing of it here. Second round. I believe it's your pick. Yep, I completed my Michigan duo there. Who do you got here?
Yeah, I mentioned him earlier. Give me my first corner off the board. Jade Barron out of Texas. Just a really smart, instinctive player. Reminds me a lot of Michigan. Mikey Sandersill, left from last year. Doesn't necessarily have the length you're looking for, but he can play outside and win outside and play in the corner. I think he can move him around, and his versatility and just intelligence, I think, is going to help him. He's, if he can be in the right scheme, I think this guy could be a 6 or 7 interception a year guy.
You mentioned him earlier, and I actually thought that's who you were taking, and I said, damn it, no. But then you took him because I took my Michigan guys. But I am going to take at the second pick of the second round here, the guy I mentioned earlier. Initially had him much higher, James Pierce Jr., defensive end out of Tennessee. Like I said, some off-field concerns here that he, obviously hasn't been convicted of anything, but there's some accusations, which, is not what I love to hear in a pre-draft process. I just think he's a really fast, high motor guy. He's got, the length, could use to pack on a little weight here. Might not necessarily be a 3-down guy, but he's got great hands, great speed, high motor. So early second round pick, I don't mind using him here. Hopefully he gets clear to some of those, issues he's having off the field, and I don't eat this pick, but I love the talent if he can get it resolved. Who do you have at 203?
This is where I'm gonna look at the safety position. There's 2 guys that could go in the first round, and it really is kind of they're definitely way different as far as their play style, and so it really is going to be like they might be 1A or 1B as far as just our boards, but like teams that run certain defenses are gonna like one guy more than the other. I'm gonna take Malachi Starks. I know Nick Emenware is more of the he's built like DK Metcalf, and had ran really well at the combine. But I just think that I think Malachi Starks is the better player, and so I'll take him there.
I will literally echo every single thing you just said because I was in the exact same thought process myself, which means if you're going to take Malachi Starks off the board, I'm going to snipe Nick Emenware, a name I can't pronounce to save my life. But I agree. Like I said, everything you said was right on point. So quick one for me there. Back to you at 205.
Well, and so this one, I think everyone's going to be shocked tomorrow night when Nick Scorton goes in the first round.
No, you didn't just say Nick Scorton. Damn you.
So interesting nugget for Scorton was, he, before transferring at Texas A&M, he was built different. And so last year you didn't see high production and you didn't see him move as well because they asked him to bulk up and play a little bit more interior. So, he was almost 300 pounds. Now he's 6'4", 280. He's moving different, looks different. And you look back at his 2023 tape and it's a different player. I like him. I had another guy, his teammate was also in consideration, but I think he's going to go in the 25 to 32 range. And people are going to say, who's that?
Boo. I'm booing you deeply. That's who I was going to take. Instead, I guess I'm going to go with another name I can't pronounce. Since I find some of these IDP names, I can't pronounce them. Donovan Ezuraku. I think I pronounced that. D-end out of Boston College. My pick would have been the same the one you took, but once again, you have sniped me. I really regret giving you the first overall pick here. I don't know. I don't think he's going to get the higher draft capital. I think I don't know. Is there anyone left on the board who has potential to go day one? I don't think so. I think he's probably a day 2 pick here. I like his lateral agility. He had great production in college. He's a tad undersized. He doesn't necessarily, he plays to his size, which is undersized. He's 6'2", is not short, but for a lineman it is. So the size is the concern for me, but overall his production and his play style, if he can overcome being smaller, I think he has every single tool to be productive for many years to come. Who do you have here at 7?
Yeah, there's not many more first rounders left. There's a couple corners I think could sneak into the first round, but
I had Stewart as a potential on the one you mentioned here, the edge on Texas
Yeah.
A&M. I thought he could maybe sneak in. I don't see it, but you never know.
He could. I was getting him and Shamar Turner confused a little bit, but Stewart definitely. You see him in a lot of mock drafts, a lot of rankings in the top 30. Trey Amos, he's met with half the teams. People really like him.
Yeah.
Maxwell Harrison's more of a slot corner, so I don't know. And then if Ravel and Morrison were not coming off of ACL injuries, both of them are first round picks. So do teams go and take them at the end, or are they going to be screaming values beginning of the second? But I'm going to take Shamar Stewart. He's one of those guys where you're projecting. He's got to figure out how to find the ball and how to finish. But if you look, their teams don't like sack production is not always what they look at. What they're looking at is are their win rate, are they winning, and their rush percentage. And this guy screams that he's got a lot of potential. It's just being able to find that. And we've seen that in the past with some guys. I mean, Rashawn Gary was not a huge sack guy. We've seen some other guys. So I think this late in the draft, I'm going to take a swing for the fence on him and hope that he goes somewhere and gets developed. Because was he like a 10 on the RAS score? He was like a perfect 10.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
And I will continue my run of picks of players I can't pronounce. Princely Human Malin. That's a terrible one for me. Former Gator, spent the rest of his career at Ole Miss. I just love him. He's size, speed, burst. He's a rare combination. The problem for me, why he's not a first round pick for me and why he goes this late in the draft for me is I just don't think he profiles to be an every down player, and he's going to be situational. And I don't particularly want my players off the field in any format. So, that dings him down a bit for me. Originally, he was someone I had almost pushing first round of rookie mock drafts, not the actual NFL mock draft. Or not the actual NFL draft, sorry. But for now, I have him mid to late second round here. I worry about, he's really team and scheme dependent here, I think. But if he lands in the right spot and gets the right role, I think he can be very productive. 209, back to you.
I'm going to go with another edge. He's actually not on the board. I think Landon Jackson could end up being a high second round pick out of Arkansas. He famously had the worst bag drill ever. And then that was like him as either a freshman or even like a senior in high school. It was just didn't look terrible. But he's really grown into a great player. And he's an interesting guy. Landon Jackson, edge out of Arkansas.
You said I didn't have that one on the board? That's weird. I thought I had him on there.
I didn't see him.
Does he have dual eligibility anywhere? You would think?
Maybe.
No, I must have just missed him. I could swear he was.
I didn't want to sneak him in as my Mr. Irrelevant and cheat a little bit.
No, that's a good one though. You probably, I wouldn't have. I was just going right off the board, so you probably would have snuck that one by me right until the end there. So, let's see. I think next I'm gonna go with Ohio State lineman Tyleik Williams. As much as it pains me to say, as the Michigan guy, size, strength, great run defender. He's weaker as a pass rusher. Doesn't have, obviously, he's not a monster. Well, he's a monster as far as weight goes. He is not a monster in length. Overall, though, once again, like I said, I don't necessarily think he plays every down. I think he's a run stuffer, and that's about it. So, but at this point in the mock draft, we're kind of, there aren't really too many every down players here. So you got to take the guys who you think can be really good and rack up the tackles and the sacks in one thing. But, so that's who's my pick is. Who do you have here at 211?
I'm going to go with Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. Really rangy, playmaking safety, probably an early second round, mid second round pick.
All right. I do not know who I want. Let me scroll here. I'm at the point where it's getting really hard to decide. I might dip back into the linebacker well here. I think I will. Demetrius Knight Jr. out of South Carolina. I don't love it. He's probably the last linebacker I really want anything to do with. He's really physical, has an ideal build for the NFL. It's just a great tackler, great, guy in the middle of the field. I don't think he's necessarily the day one starter where he's going to walk in and be a stud. I think this is more of a developmental IDP guy for my teams. But he's who I'm going to take to close out the second round. We'll recap here. 201 is Jahdae Barron out of Texas, James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee, Malachi Starks from Georgia, Nick Emenworry, South Carolina, Nick Scorton, Texas A&M. Donovan Ezuraku, Boston College, Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M, Prince Uman out of Ole Miss, Landon Jackson, Arkansas. The 210 is Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State, Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame at 211, and I closed it out with Demetrius Knight Jr. out of South Carolina. And before we move on to our third and final round here, let's hear once again from our fearless leader.
If you play in Dynasty, you need Dynasty Deluxe, our premium package for Dynasty Leaguers. We rank over 300 players, updated every week, all year long. And there's a win now mode and a rebuild mode with superflex and tight end premium controls. And a Dynasty League sync where you can say, sync down all of my sleeper teams, all my FFPC teams. And then you can browse around your leagues for who has needs. And then you can use our trade finder to see what kinds of trades are happening in leagues that are similar to the one I want to do. Then you can analyze trades using our trade analyzer, which balances the lifetime value, which includes pick values out to like 2028. All of that plus the rookie guide, $25 value is included. So if you're just in one Dynasty League, Dynasty Deluxe is well worth it. And use your host's promo code, and you can bump up to all in and get $25 off.
All right, and we're back. We're going to kick off the third round here. We're running a little short on time, so we'll probably buzz through this round. At this point, most of them are kind of dart throws, much like in the regular drafts. Jamie, we will not tolerate this. Even as a Michigan fan, in the year where we were god-awful, we still beat Ohio State, so I sleep at night just fine. Dave, I believe that is you on the clock, correct?
Yes. And so I talked about him before. I think Trey Amos ends up being a possible late first round pick. So I'm going to grab him here.
All righty. I think for me, it's Benjamin Morrison, cornerback out of Notre Dame. I think he could probably land in the third round at best, maybe. I think he's probably likely a day 3 guy, but he's 3-4 borderline for me. So either way, I think he's just got the upside here, and he's someone worth taking a shot on. After all, you've seen like most of the first 2 rounds here, it's what, 75% defensive linemen. So this is where I start to take shots on, my last 2 picks were what, linebacker, cornerback. So this is where I start to hammer it a little later. So who is your next guy?
I'm going to go with Darius Alexander from Toledo. Toledo gave us Quinton Mitchell last year. Alexander is probably going to be, early day 2 pick.
Early day 2 pick. 1 sec. All righty. I'm really running out of guys that I like here. How about yourself? It's at the point where it's almost, linebackers here, and I don't really love the linebacker class. I just, once the D linemen are gone, it's pretty grim for me. I think I'm gonna go with maybe the last guy that I think is draftable. Well, maybe not the last guy on the defensive line here. I'm gonna go JT. Oh, damn it. It's another Ohio State guy. I'm totally off brand here. JT Tuamola. He's an Ohio State guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name. We're just going to go with that. Moving on, so I don't have to talk about a Buckeye. Who do you got at 305, Dave?
I think we can go with Kevin Winston Jr. out of Penn State.
That works for me. We're kind of throwing darts here. I have 2 cornerbacks that I really like. Well, I shouldn't say really like, that I think have potential. They're the top 2 left on the board, but I'm going to go with Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. Again, there's not a whole lot to say at this point. It's dart throw territory. Maxwell Hairston, I think he's fast. I think he's got great anticipation. He's kind of small, so that's not great. It's probably why he's going to be a day 3 pick. What do you think? What do you have next at 307?
He's really fast, and the NFL loves speed, so he probably goes up a little higher. But I'm going to go with Omar Norman Lott out of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Again, it's just a really deep class, and I think some of these guys that probably got second round grades are going to end up in the third round, and some of these guys from the shallow positions that are third round grades are going to go in the second.
Well, then I will go with the other guy who was on my board, East Carolina's Siobhan Revel Jr., another guy who's pretty fast, pretty physical. He is a guy who I know you said Harrison could go day 2 because of the speed. Revel could have gone day 2 because of the speed, but he's got the ACL. He had the ACL injury, so I don't think he's going to be able to rely on that and sneak into day 2. I think he's going to be a day 3 pick unless you see something here to disagree.
We'll say Morrison and Ravel are guys that I don't think they'll make the first round because of the injury, but yeah, they could go day 2. I think they do go day 2. But
oh wow, okay, I would like significantly more if he did that. I was just assuming he was probably going to be more like a 4th rounder.
Well, I'm basing that off of I listened to the Daniel Jeremiah media call, and they said who are going to be the best available guys on day 2, and he named both those guys and said they're first round talents that are just have an ACL injury, and with how people are recovering from ACL injuries these days, that it really shouldn't knock them down too far. But we also thought, some guys were going to be first rounders before, and they ended up being 4th rounders. So
I believe it's you on the board.
All right, give me it's definitely tough territory at this point. Give me Joshua Farmer out of Florida State.
Joshua Farmer, there he is, way down there. Yeah, I think I had maybe one guy that I was happy to pick left here, and it's Alfred Collins, and it's just based solely on the fact that he's an absolute monster out of Texas here. So that'll be my second to last pick here, just an absolute space eater on the line.
Do you got that 400-pounder from Florida on this list? I mean, he's only going to be a tush push. They said tush push Terminator is what his nickname's going to be.
I don't think I have him on this list, and his name is escaping me.
So don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I have him anywhere scouted that well.
Yeah, we'll see with him. Give me Jeffrey Bassa out of Oregon. Could be an interesting guy. Like I said, it's not a great linebacker class, and so he could move up the board a little bit.
I will close it out with, I'm debating between the top 2 guys on the line here. I think I'll go Shamar Turner. It's real dart throw territory here.
Yeah,
pardon?
I thought about him.
Yeah, out of A&M. I don't love the pick. He's fast. He's got a high motor. He's strong. I think he's pretty undersized for his position, and he's been really prone to penalties, so that scares me a bit. He'll have to clean that up for the next level if he hopes to be successful. All right, so I'll recap this round. We got 301 Trey Amos, Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame, Darius Alexander Toledo, JT Tuamolo or whatever, Ohio State. I'm really going to have to work on the pronunciations for next week. I'm struggling with these guys. Kevin Winston Jr., Penn State, Maxwell Harrison, Kentucky, Omar Norman Lott, Tennessee, Siobhan Revel Jr., East Carolina, Joshua Farmer, Florida State, Alfred Collins, Texas, Jeffrey Bassa, Oregon, and Shamar Turner, Texas A&M. That concludes our 3-round IDP only rookie mock draft. Thank you for joining me, Dave. Before we get out of here, you want to plug yourself one more time? Tell us where we can find you and all your work.
Yeah, Dynasty Trade Calculator. If you got any trades you want pulled or things like that, you can find me at Dynasty Dorks on TikTok or X. And Sports Gambling Podcast Network is where you find my rankings.
All right, this is our last pre-draft mock. We are back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. We do have one comment. Thank you for joining us, Jamie. Back in the lab every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next week, however, we will be starting our team preview series. We have Jeremy Popolars from FTN. We have paired off teams since we don't have enough weeks to do 32 consecutive weeks. So next week, we are going to start it off with the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. Hopefully, it is an Ashton Gentry or Ashton Genty and Tyler Warren situation, but we'll see. That's where we're going to start off next week. Got some other people in the chat. Thank you for joining us, guys. Check back next week. Chargers, Raiders. Thank you again to Dave for joining me. Take care, everyone, and have a great night.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.
Thank